What up, y'all? I know I said I was going to do this video a little bit earlier. I just didn't have a chance, but I figured I didn't want to do it too late in the night. So today, I am reviewing the Omen, since I did the first Omen last week. And I gotta say, this one, I forgot how dark this movie gets, especially towards the end. And the story is crazy, where you have this family, the Thorns, adopt this baby secretly, because the baby was switched with another one, and they raise him as his own, and they raise him and they name him Damien. Then like weird things start to happen, like dogs show up, like Rottweilers show up. Father Brennan ends up getting killed with a pole. This movie is definitely, like The Exorcist, is more of like tension building horror. So it's not a lot of scares, not a lot of. It's a little bit slow. It's definitely on the slow side, especially in the beginning. And I'll be honest, I did not know Richard Donner directed this. I didn't know. I never knew that. To be fair, I had only seen The Omen. I think it was after I saw The Exorcist, so I would have been like 10 or 11, I think, when I saw The Omen the first time. It tripped me out. I didn't think it was as good as The Exorcist, but I thought it was still pretty trippy. I thought the kid who played Damien was great. He was creepy. And initially, he seems like a normal kid, and then weird things just... Damien can't go into a church. When they take him to the zoo, the animals are all frightened of him, and then it's where you get the Father Brennan character, who they do set up in the first Omen. And rewatching this, the first Omen went into it perfectly, so I gotta give that movie even more praise for the fact that that one goes right into this one very perfectly. Because, I mean, basically, they even mentioned some of the things that happen a little bit towards the end, like where they go into, you try to go into Damien's past. Because obviously, Father Brennan tries to warn Robert about Damien, and Damien, initially, Robert doesn't want to believe it. Because this is where he turns out the son is the Antichrist. They go to Rome, and this is where they do find out more, and Robert's basically slowly realizing his son is not human, basically. Something happens where his wife, Catherine's almost killed, but they end up killing the unborn, because she was pregnant with a child, so her baby ends up getting miscarriaged. So they find this knife that can kill Damien, basically, but Father, obviously Robert doesn't want to do it. And yeah, man, that ending scene where the cops end up shooting Robert because he's about to stab the kid, So to these cops, this is just this adult with a knife trying to kill a kid. So, and then both Robert and Catherine end up being killed, and we see that Damien with the president. And I know there are sequels, and there was like a remake that came out in 2006. I've never actually seen the remake. I might watch it. Maybe. We'll see. I definitely don't think I'm going to watch the sequels, because I don't really see how you could sequel this, really. Damien is with a different family. I think it's like a horror tale kind of story, where it's a one-off movie, where you don't need any more after that. So, my humble opinion, I don't think there needs to be any more after this, so I'm going to skip them. Might watch the remake just because I've never seen it, so we'll see. But overall, I'll give this movie a 9 out of 10. I think it's a great horror film. I think the tension building, good characters. Father Brennan, I thought, gave a pretty good performance before he died. I like that it's a good horror story. Like I said, it's a little bit slow. It's kind of like The Exorcist, where it's a lot more focused on the tension building and the atmosphere than, let's say, just getting you the scares right away, right? So it's a little bit slow, but I think it's not too slow where you're bored. So I would definitely give this movie that. I think it's overall great. It's very iconic. One of the best horror movies, in my opinion, ever. So, great horror story. I mean, and I think, especially if you're religious, the religious themes. I mean, as a person who's not religious, I'm just, from a layman's perspective, felt like they did the religion stuff pretty well, Overall, I enjoyed this movie. So, Father Spalato, I think is the name of the father. So, it turns out he's the one who basically pushed the kid onto Robert. So, overall, phenomenal movie. So tomorrow I'm gonna be reviewing one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Snatch. Figures since Guy Ritchie's coming out with Ministry of Gentlemanly Warfare, I figured why not review a Guy Ritchie movie. And I was thinking, you know what? I haven't watched Snatch in a while, so we'll do that one tomorrow. Maybe I'll do some other Guy Ritchie movies down the line. Like I might check out that new one. Maybe sometime next week we'll do it. Where because he did another one like last year that I didn't see. It was called like The Covenant. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, and so I might check that out. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna watch Snatch tomorrow. I figured that'd be the perfect movie to watch before we watch Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So, anyways, let's get into the Omen. Opens, we see Robert Thorne trying to have a child, but his wife initially miscarries. So Father Spilotto gives him another baby to Robert basically to pass as his own. But they name him Damien. And we jump and like I mean 5 years? Somewhere where Damien's like or he's like elementary aged. It's kind of what I would say. And like weird things start happening when Damien's around. Like they take them to the zoo, and the animals all start freaking out. um, Thorne's nanny kills herself right before Damien's birthday. Dogs start barking at Damien. Like weird stuff start happening around them. And Father Brennan, who's introduced, tries to warn Robert that his son isn't really his son, and that he's the Antichrist, and that he's not human, and that he plans on murdering basically Catherine and their unborn child. And obviously, initially, Thorne tells him to kind of basically tell him to fuck off a couple of times. Because, you're going to have that scene. He's not going to initially believe, but then more weird things start happening, and eventually, Father Brennan ends up getting killed. This movie, it is slow, but it's not slow in the sense where you're bored. Like, it does go pretty quick. Like, because within this little bit, yeah, Father Brennan ends up getting killed. Oh, no, before this, Father Brennan, this is at this point Kevin starts realizing bad things are happening, and because Catherine ends up getting knocked over like a balcony or some kind of ledge, not ledge, like a balcony in the house, and she ends up falling on her stomach, killing the baby. So this is where Robert starts realizing, something's up, and he looks into Father Brennan's series, where they go to Rome and they try to look into where the baby came from, and turns out where I think it's the orphanage or wherever they got the baby, or hospital, I think it was burned down. And they try to go to the cemetery, and this is where they find Father Spilotto. They end up finding the birthplace of the actual baby that was actually killed, because it turns out there's another baby killed, so that Damien can take his place. It's pretty dark, man. Like, there's some dark things in this movie, and but they get chased off by dogs. But yeah, that's where Father Brennan ends up getting killed. So they end up having to. You have to use this particular knives that can basically kill Damien, but Thorne obviously doesn't want to do it, but he has no choice. Basically, before Damien ends up killing the whole family. And I do like with this movie that it does have little slasher elements, because there are people who are kind of getting picked off, but it is also like this. It is a bit of psychological stuff there, and I'm gonna say it. I think the kid who played Damien did a good job. Granted, they don't have him say too much, but for the scenes he does talk, I think he does a pretty good job. So overall, I actually really like this movie. So definitely would watch again. It's a good like Halloween movie. Probably should have reviewed this around. That's actually originally probably if First Omen didn't come out, or if didn't end up seeing it, I probably would have reviewed this around like Halloween. But I figured since I just watched the First Omen, it kind of makes sense just to review the original now. So anyway, so father Catherine ends up getting killed. So mom's dead, and then not Keith, um, Robert tries to kill Damien, but unfortunately the cops arrive, and obviously to the cops, this just looks like an adult male trying to kill a kid. So they end up shooting Robert, and Damien now is, I guess, adopted by the president. I guess you think you do see the president earlier in the movie. So, and then you see Damien smile, and I thought that was a pretty creepy ending. Like, it's a pretty dark movie. Like, it's a dark movie, and I think it's one of those well-made movies from the time that I would say defined the horror genre for sure. This came out in '76, so this is like 3 years after The Exorcist. And movies like The Exorcist, and I wouldn't even say this movie, even though Halloween is a slasher, I would argue these are the movies that got people to take horror, especially The Exorcist, but got people to take horror like seriously as a genre and not just this dumb kind of schlocky movies. So, and that in a way did set the tone for like then Halloween to come in later in the late '70s. So, I think this movie was necessary. Same with The Exorcist. So, overall iconic film. That's all I could really say. Um, good tone, good characters. I love the actor who plays Robert because he's a genuinely he makes some bad mistakes, but he's a genuinely good guy. I mean, especially in the end when he has no choice but you think this is your son, but then you fucking find out this isn't your son. This is some antichrist shit. This is the son of Satan. Like it. Yeah, that's got to be crazy. Then you have to try. And granted, he ends up getting killed, but and you can't get mad at the cops because it's like they think this is just some adult male trying to kill a fucking kid. To them, that's what it looks like. So, awesome film. So, anyways, guys. 9.5, honestly. The score was great. Atmosphere was great. Cinematography was pretty good. Like they kept a little bit of the mystery. You don't actually see the devil in the movie, which I think that would have been kind of hokey if they showed you an actual devil. I think they did a good job with that, so that's all I can really say. So tomorrow we're gonna review Snatch. Great cast. It's one of those movies just has a fun cast, fun dialogue. It's probably just Guy Ritchie at his best, man. So I can't wait to review that tomorrow. Actually, it's gonna be fun. It's been a little bit since I've seen it, so. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna call it here.